Hey folks, today we're going to be talking about sights, in particular handgun sights, and different options that you have. It's important to note that your sights really are or should be thought about as mission dependent. So how are you using the gun? Really, that's where you have to start with. Sometimes people say, well, I just got to have this particular sight without really thinking about its application. So we're going to go through a couple different options here. Of course, we've got unloaded guns, no ammunition or anything else anywhere near the area. So this is sort of the traditional, what's sometimes called black on black. So what we have here is we have black rear sights, black front sights, and this is very good if you're shooting kind of bullseye type of shooting and you want to just use this from a target standpoint. These are Heine sights. Like the Heine sights because they're steel, very, very durable, and easy to install. So that's kind of your traditional partridge, rear sight, black sight on front. You just line those guys up and you're good to go. The next one is our traditional tritium sight. So we've got a 3-dot situation here, and obviously you just want to line those 3 dots up. These will obviously show at night, and you can see that during the night they will illuminate and help you use the sights to see. One of the things that's challenging, and if you have or are in a total dark situation and you line your 3 sights up, it's pretty hard to get a sense of where that front sight is, and so you really got to practice with that to make sure that you're comfortable. So again, these are Tritium night sights. Had this on this Glock Gen 2 version for a long time. I replaced them after about 10 years because the tritium lasts about 10 years. And so that's a good consideration. The next one that I really like is these are Heine Straight Eights sights. So what they have, they're black on black with tritium inserts at this position and obviously on the front sight. The way that you align these sights is by having an 8 in your tritium view. So during the regular daylight shooting, you're just looking for that front sight, and you're really not even noticing the rear tritium sight, which is nice because it's very easy to just pick up that front sight, get onto target, press your shot. At night, what you want to do, of course, is line that up so you have a black on, or you have the tritium, an 8, a number 8. One nice thing about these Heine sights is they've got a ledge. This particular version has a ledge here, which allows you to do, single-handed malfunction clearance drills. This sight in particular also has a larger notch in the back, which allows for faster front sight acquisition. Now, the flip side of that is it doesn't allow you as much precision accuracy, but again, mission dependent. What's the purpose of the sight? What's the purpose of the gun that you're using? So again, those Heine sights, I really like them with the tritium inserts. The next thing that I wanted to show you is some tritium sights that are set up a little differently. These are called operator sights, and you can see what they have is they have tritium inserts on the rear, but on the front sight it has that white dot you typically see on most tritium sights. This configuration allows you much faster front sight acquisition because your eyes are drawn to the front sight. When you look at normal 3-dot, your brain and eyes have to process that alignment of the 3 dots, okay? So that takes, again, fraction of a second, but it may be something to consider. Whereas with this setup, no white outlines around the tritium on these sights, it gives you a very quick front sight acquisition and your ability to see the front sight right away, press your shot, do what you have to do. So that is a really good option. I like that setup quite a bit. So it's kind of my favorite sights of the ones that we've talked about so far would be your Heine Straight Eights sights, probably followed by these operator sights. So these are the XS sight system. So what this is really a close quarter combat. And what it does is it really draws you to that front sight. And again, this works really well to about 7 yards. Beyond that, it's pretty hard to get the kind of precision because you're trying to lock that front sight in to the rear sight, whereas this sort of post, so it's sort of like a post with the eye dot on top of it. Again, from a close quarters standpoint, that's really effective. You know, between 5 to 7 yards at the outside. Once you get past 7 yards, it's pretty hard to get the kind of precision shots that you can get with a more traditional sight that has that notch in the rear, allowing you to align that front sight. So again, this is an option. If you know, maybe are carrying a sidearm, this might be an option, and you're primarily using it for close quarters combat, this might be an option for you. Another one that I've been using quite a bit on my M&Ps, and mainly I use these for competition style shooting, is the high-vis fiber optic front sight against a black rear. Now, these are the sights that came with the M&P. They cut out this back area so you can, that's this ledge which allows you to do malfunction clearance one-handed, which is great. I've just painted in the rear white sights with black, which allows just that, all I see as I bring the gun to point is that green, bright green dot in the front. And inside it's kind of hard to get a sense of how bright that is. However, when you're on the range, when you're shooting, as you press out to your shot, you know, you press out and it's right there. I mean, you see it, you see that, you break your shot. So that's an option too that I really like. It just works for me, and for this type of application that I'm using it for, competition, IDPA, that type of thing, that front sight works really well. So hopefully what you've seen is there are a lot of options out there for sights, and what you really want to think about is what is the mission that you're asking that gun to do, how are you going to use it, and what's really going to work well for you. I do think that as it relates to the Glocks, in particular the cheap sights that you typically get with the Glocks, the plastic sights, are simply sight holders until you get a good pair of sights. I do really like the Heine sights. I think the Straight 8 setup is a great way to go. It sort of gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you tritium. It also gives you that sort of very quick black on black, just fill that front sight in that gap. So that is another really good option and something to consider. So hopefully you found this useful. Certainly appreciate you watching. Really am grateful for all the questions and input and subscriptions we've been getting over the last couple months, and I know that doesn't happen if you guys don't watch the channel, so I sincerely appreciate that. I would ask that you have a wonderful holiday, and as always, stay safe.